Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how to do this fabulous card here without using a die. Now this card is made with an Anna Griffin die, but let me show you what it does. This was all the rage a few years ago and it's making a comeback. So it is the pop-up card. Boop! So it goes flat in the envelope, pops up. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to make that without having a die and using an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Okay, so we'll need that, and then you might want to have like a scrap piece, or you can use the piece that you cut off. Okay, so you're going to start off with your scoring board, an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You'll need some kind of corner chompers or corner rounders, or if you just want square corners, you can leave it that way. If you do have dies that create corners, you can use those. And then you want to have like a scrap piece of paper to make the inside piece. So let me start and get going because it's very simple. So you take your 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and you're going to cut it at 5.5. So you're doing like your typical A2 size card. So it'll be 5.5 by 8.5. So what you'll come out with is this. Okay. Now we're gonna stick this in our scoreboard. And we're going to go ahead and score it. It's so easy and simple. So you're going to have it in at the 8.5 inch mark. You're going to score it down at 8. Boom. All right. Then every 2 inches from the 8. So you'll score it at 6, 4, and 2. Okay. Then you're going to turn it to the 5.5 side. So you can see that. Now you can make this score line half or less than the height of this. So either half of 5.5 or less than 5.5. You don't want it more than half of that because then this part will be smaller and then your box won't sit right. So I'm going to go ahead and do it at 3. Now you're going to start on the 3 mark and you're going to score down your first 3 boxes that you scored before, but not this last box. So I'm going to score at the 3. Down to the first line, the second line, and the third line that I scored before. Now I'm going to skip this section, and that little 1/2 inch that we scored before, I'm going to do a 3 there. Okay, so you're going to end up with this line here that goes all the way down to this panel. Notice there's no score line in this panel, and then there is one there. Okay, so then that's all the scoring you need to do on this piece. Then you're going to cut 3. Now you can get away with 2. It just depends on how many you want in your box. This is where either scrap paper comes in, like a scrap piece of card that matches what you're using, or you could use the other half of the 8.5 by 11, but that kind of wastes your piece. So then you're going to cut a piece that is 3 inches long by 1 inch, and you'll want 2 or 3. I'm putting 3 in mine. Okay, so you'll be 1 inch wide, 3 inches long. Then you're going to come back in and you're going to score that at 1/2 inch from the end, then turn it around and do 1/2 inch from the end, and do that to all 3 pieces. Then you're just going to bend those down. So you've got that. Okay, now you are done with all of your scoring. Okay. Scoring is finished. So let me go ahead and put this mat up here so you can see. The next thing we're going to do is do some cutting. So get out your scissors. You could do this with a paper trimmer, but to me that's a little more cumbersome. So you have your score lines here. You have this plain large panel, and then you have this 1/2 inch panel. First thing, we're going to take this, and there's your score line, and you're just going to cut it like that at an angle to the score line. And then you're going to cut this section off. So we're just going to take it on that score line and cut it. So you'll end up with a shape that looks like this. Okay. Now later on I'm going to cut this in about half, so you could do that now or you could do that later. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. I'll do it now because I know I need to. So you could just cut that tab off about halfway. Okay, then you're not going to touch this panel at all. You're going to go to this line here, that line, and that line, and you're going to cut down to here. So I'm just going to turn it upside down, take my scissors, and hopefully you can see that line, and I'm just going to cut straight down. Now, like I said, if you want to, you can use your paper trimmer. And I'm going to go to the next one. And you're just going to cut down to that 3-inch line. And then one more. Okay. So then I have 3 pieces cut, and then a long piece and a tab. Now, I prefer to go ahead and fold these now. So I'm going to fold them. I'm going to fold them. So notice you have this big long piece. And I would not do, well, it depends on the card you're using. I would not do like a running it down with your bone folder, okay? Because you could risk tearing your paper. All right, then I'm going to fold these forward like that. All right. So then when you are done, you're going to have this tab, and it's going to do that, and you've got your box. Yay! Okay, so let's get going. Now, I prefer rounded corners, so I'm going to take my corner thumper, and I'm just doing a 1/8 inch on both sides. And this is the top part. You don't want this on the bottom. Okay, so we've got that. Now, this is what we have. This is going to be the back piece. This is the middle. This is the front. That's the side. Okay, so back, middle, or back, side, middle, front. I just said that wrong. Back, a side, the front, the other side. Does that make sense? Okay, so next what I want to do is show you, you are going to cut your mats in layers. So I've gone ahead and on this one, written them down. So to make this panel here in the back, you're going to cut it 5 inches by 1 3/4. Now, because we're doing the first layer, all of these will be by 1 3/4 because this is a 2-inch box. Okay, so 5 by 1 3/4. So 1 3/4 this way, height 5. Okay, then these, because the bottom panels are going to be 2 3/4 by 1 3/4 wide, and then this panel is going to be 2 1/4 by 1 3/4. Okay, and if you're not sure, just go and measure. So this was a 2.5 inch panel. I want to take 1/4 inch off. There you go. Make sense? So what you end up with is your back piece. And then I rounded all the corners. Now I went and did another layer. I just took 1/4 inch off. So do that all the way around if you want a second layer. These are for the next panel with their layers. And then these are for the bottom panel. Okay? All right, now what I want to do is show you the inside, how to put together the little struts here. Now, I've got 3, and you can see that this first one is kind of close, so I could do with just 2. So I'm going to turn this over, because this is your outside. I'm going to turn it over, and you want to work on this panel. This is the panel I'm going to be working on. Okay? So I'm going to take my 3 little pieces here. I'm going to take this, and we folded it down on each 1/2 inch. Now I found this was the easiest way to try to get all these lined up without having ridiculousness. So I'm just going to put some glue on the tabs, on just one side of the tabs. Make sure it doesn't glue anything down. I'll just put 2 on this box. Well, no, I'll put 3, that way you can at least see how I did it. Okay, there we go. And I can just let the glue get a little tacky. So I'm working on this panel here. And I'm going to take the glue one, the one with the glue on it, and I'm going to kind of line it up towards the top, but not right at the edge. So I'm going to line it up here, and I don't want to cross that score line. So I'm just going to put it where I think it should go. Okay, so I've got it like that. So So see my little glue tab is there. Now I'm holding it down like this because it makes it easier to line up. Excuse me, my allergies are acting up. Okay, so my first one is down there. And I would use wet glues particularly because it's easier to move around. All right, so then I'm going to take my next one. I got my glue tab. And I'm going to put it right here. Not right on top of it, but kind of next to it. Does that make sense? Can you see that little space? So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to line them up. I'm going to put that down. And then I'm going to put like this. So if I hold them down, I can move it a little bit. And now they're lined up. See how they're lined up like that? But, so I've got that piece glued down, that piece glued down. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the third one. And so this is the back. So this is why I'm putting the folded part down. So then I'm going to do the same thing. Put it down. Line it up so that all three are level here. Put that down a little bit. See that? So boom, 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 boom. It's like a waterfall. Okay. So now these are all there. I'm just gonna push them down again. Now I'm gonna take this panel, and instead of trying to fix it when you have it this way, I think that's difficult. So instead, you've got these panels like this. I'm going to flip them back this way. See how that is? So they were this way. Now I'm going to flip them back that way, and then I'm going to put my glue on the tabs again. Now here you have to be sure you don't get extra glue on these pieces. You just want them on the flats. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this one, a little bit of glue on that tab, a little bit of glue on that tab. Okay. Then make sure you've got them lined up so they're lined up at the top. Now I just used scrap paper, so you'll notice that the bottoms aren't exactly even, which is fine. You want the tops even. So now when I fold this, I'm going to take this piece and fold it over so it'll cover these. Right? So watch. I'm just going to take it, fold it over, and kind of just line it up like that. Hold it down for a little bit. And then you have to wait till the glue sets up. But then you'll notice that there it is. Okay? So it's down like this. And fold it up. Then you have your 3 bars on the inside. Can you see that? So there, that's what you have. Now, it tends to be fold. Okay, so you have your bars in. When you close this up, you will have a box. And you will notice that typically it folds easier one way than the other. Okay, all you have to do is, this is the way it's easy, just fold it the other way and gently, once your glue has dried, just flatten it down. Do that a couple times and then it'll fold easy both ways. All right, so the next thing you want to do is go ahead and decorate. It's easier to decorate it when it's flat versus when it's in a square form. So we are going to do, so when you have your box, this is the back panel. Okay, so we're going to do the inside back panel. That panel without a layer is going to be 5 inches high by 1 3/4 wide. Now I did a layer, so you just take a 1/4 inch off of that. So it'd be 2 inches, not 2 inches, I'm sorry. 5 was the top, so you would do 4 3/4 high by 1 1/2 wide for your layer. So I just go ahead and put that on the inside. Now the bottom part you're not even going to really see. Okay, you have to look way down into the card. Now the rest of this, you're going to decorate the outside here and then the inside here. If you want to, then you can decorate this layer as well. Okay. Okay, so once you have finished doing your mats and your layers, now you could go back through and layer these pieces, but they'll be down, so I'm not doing that, but you can. So you have all your little layering stuff, so forth. Now, if you want to, you could go ahead and put another piece here on the back, and that could be where you write your message as well. So you could put a layer, then a white piece or a cream piece or whatever piece matches, so that you could actually go back and write your message and your from. So let me show you, because of course, you know, gotta love the spring and summer release from the Not Too Shabby shop, which is why we're doing this video to begin with. So here's my lovely, fabulous pop-up card. Boom! What happened? Let's see. So there's my card. So you can see the images that I used from her shop. I colored up this watering can of flowers and this little boot, and it has a umbrella in there, so you can see that. I found these little stickers in my stash, so I went ahead and used that. These are some die cuts from Spellbinders. But then you see her lovely images. I love this little duck, and they just crack me up. And so on the pieces, I put the ducks and some little pieces to represent grass. And back here, there's a little thing here. And I could not find the sun I had colored, so I had to do without it. So there is the pop-up card for the Not Too Shabby shop. Now, she was also having a special this weekend, so look in the descriptions box below and see if that special is still running. All right, thanks for watching. Go check out Jamie's shop and let me know if you use the tutorial. That'd be so awesome, and I shall see you guys later. Bye.